let's get things straight. You clicked on this video because you want to buy your dream car at a young age. I mean, who wouldn't? That's literally a dream come true. There's only one setback when it comes to buying your dream car at any age. Well, you need the funds to do that. And even though this looks like monopoly money to Americans, this is what we use in Australia. And you need some of this to get something like this. But in no way is this supposed to be a flex about any form of money I've got or I get. That's not the point of this video at all. The whole point of this video is me, at 20 years old, I bought my dream car, the BMW M4. I dreamed about it, owning it since I was about 15 years old, and I finally did it at 20. And I think any of you can do that, and that's what this video is about. It's the passion I have to spread the knowledge that I've used and anyone can use to achieve that goal and the financial strategies that will help you get there. In all my social medias, I get comments, people asking me, how did you buy an M4 at 20 and on your P plates without your parents helping you at all? And these are the financial strategies I used myself and I taught myself and learned online, compelled into one video. I've already made one video before about the 4 steps it took for me to get here, but this video is more about the financial strategies, the money side of it, than just the lifestyle side. So without further ado, my name is Nick, you're watching Perf Nick, and this is my 6 financial strategies on how you can buy your dream car at a young age. Get that notebook out, we're going into 2025, so let's start with the most important one. So I welcome you into my office. I could film this in the office in my house or my bedroom, but you know what? The whole point of this video is about this car, so let's make the office outside. Let's get into point 1. Strategy number 1, set clear goals. So the first one is set clear goals. That sounds pretty self-explanatory and pretty clear. Excuse the pun. And this can be used in any aspect of your life. Let's say your goal is you want to buy your first house. So your goal is to buy it in 2025. But a goal is no good without a plan on how you're going to get there. So you have to plan out how you're going to achieve that goal. Your goal is to buy that first house. So how are you going to do it? You're going to plan to save a $50,000 deposit within the year. Let's take that back to a smaller scale. Let's say your goal is to save $5,000 this year. That's what you want to achieve. Now, what's the plan? Your plan is going to be you're going to get a job and you're going to cut your spending. Let's say you're 16, you're going to work hard and you're not going to spend that money on stupid stuff. And trust me, you'll get that $5,000 this year. Let's crank it up to the max, why not? On the bigger scale, let's say your goal is to buy a private jet, even though that looks like something inappropriate. Let's say the goal is to buy a private jet this year. What's the plan? Your plan might be to sell your company and with the money to retire and buy yourself that private jet. I don't really know because I'm not close to this scale at all, but just speaking in theory. Anyways, this whole video is about buying your dream car, not a house or a private jet. And well, like I said in my video about why I bought an M4 instead of a house at my age, this car was on my wish list. I made the goal when I was 15 or 16 years old that I wanted to buy an M4 / or a C63 by the time I was 25 years old. Obviously, I set that goal, I had it in writing and I was always thinking about it, and I beat it 5 years early at 20. Again, if we go back to that video, I said I want to own a supercar before I turn 30. So now, day by day, that's ticking on my mind. How am I going to achieve the next best thing? How am I going to flip this from a BMW into a Lamborghini or an Audi R8 or a Porsche GT3? How am I going to do that before I turn 30? Well, I did it with this car before I turned 25. I'm sure I can do it again. Let's make this more relatable to my younger viewers. Let's say you're 15 years old and your goal is you want to buy a Golf GTI by the time you turn 18 and get your license. A fun, great first car. So you guessed it, what am I going to ask you to do? I want you to set that goal, put it in writing so you look at it all the time. Your goal is to buy a GTI by 18 years old. Now, you have to make a plan on how you're going to do it. And once you've made that plan, let's say for example you want to get a job, you want to save hard and you want to go out less so you spend less money and you can get the car, well now you know how you're going to achieve that goal. And that's what you have to do about everything. Write down those goals and always remind yourself why you're doing it. I know lots of people, they make their phone backgrounds their goals or their computer backgrounds or they have a poster, a vision board. It's a great idea because every time you look at it, it becomes more of a reality until you're actually looking at it in reality. This car was on my vision board. I'll put a little photo of it on screen. I wanted to own this car in my lifetime and I did it. Strategy number 2, start saving early. Now that we've got a plan, we want to buy a specific car by a specific time. Well, we need the money, like I said, to get there. Whether you've been saving money since the day you were born or you're starting today, without money, you won't be able to buy this car, and preferably outright. That's always what I recommend, to buy them outright. But without money, you can't do that. Ideally, I want this to reach a younger audience so they know to start saving young. I mean, personally, I can't even remember when I started saving because my family taught me how to do that when I was really, really young, and it's become a habit and I always do it now. And it all depends person to person. I know some people that can save $1,000 in pocket every week. I know other people who can only save $100 a week after all their expenses. But the earlier you start doing it, the better, because the more it builds up over time means the more you're gonna have in that bank. And it's really important for you young girls and guys to be listening now, because you have no expenses at this stage in your life. If you're under 18, for example, and you're lucky enough to live at home, well, you don't have to pay anything. Your bills, your food, schooling, everything's covered. And any pocket money you make or money from a part-time job, you can put straight in the bank and save up. Obviously, once you get older and there's more expenses and bills and costs of living, it's harder to save, but you are making more money at that stage. So it's a bit of an equation there. And going back to myself, like I said, I've always been saving and I still do. Every paycheck I get now, it's grown from what I was earning when I was 16 to what I'm earning now at 21. Obviously, the amount of money I've earned has gotten better over time, and the amount I can save has gotten better over time. I'm still in a blessed position to be able to live at home, so I don't have to pay rent or a mortgage or anything like that. So that means a lot of my money can go straight into that savings bank. And you always have to remember the one thing that everyone wants that you can't buy, and that's time. So the earlier you start, the better. If you're not saving anything right now, I beg of you, if you want to buy that dream car, start saving today. Just make a little piggy bank, make a bank account, put a box under the bed, whatever you want to do. Just start putting money away and away and away. You might start with $50 from your first paycheck at McDonald's. You want to start putting it away. And then every paycheck, put a little bit of money away. Then you get a better job, you're earning even more. Put $150 away every week. You're getting a better job, $300, $500, whatever. Just keep adding it into that pile. And eventually you'll look at it and you'll be like, whoa, how did I get that much money? And that all links back to achieving that goal. So save your money. Strategy number 3, invest wisely. This third strategy is whatever any financial advisor would tell you to do. I know the word investing sounds very scary and only what the top 1% and the Bill Gates of the worlds do, but the truth is a majority of people out there have investments. And don't get me wrong, with the right investments, it can completely change your life. Obviously, there are very lucky examples, but generally speaking, putting your money into something that's going to make you more money is always a good idea. And no matter your age, just putting a few hours research into it can lead you into making lots of money into the future. You don't need to be a stock analyst to make good money out of stocks, for example. I must say I'm no financial advisor or stock analyst or anything like that. I like to keep up with the times and all those different things, and I'll go through my own investments and what can work for you. So in today's segment of Perf Nick's investments, the first and the biggest one is index funds / ETFs. What is that? So each of those two are a little bit different, but generally speaking, what are they? So let's say you want to invest in stocks, but you don't know which one. Well, there's a thing called, for example, the S&P 500. The 500 top companies in America grouped into one big basket, and you invest into that. So that means out of those 500 companies, if on general they're increasing, your money will increase also. So let's say you put $1,000 into the S&P 500 basket, and one company carries it completely, for example, Nvidia recently, and increases the whole market value up by 5%. Well, that $1,000 you've put in there has gone up by 5% also. And honestly, it's probably the most risk-free investment out there, full stop, putting into S&P 500 and things like that. Because, well, the market is never just going to end. Yes, it might drop, but if the market ends, the world pretty much is over. They're always going to go up, these companies. And on average, the S&P 500 increases 7 to 10% every year, year over year. It averages out to around that percentage. So over time, the more money you put into it, and every year if it's increasing 7 to 10%, well, that money is going straight back to you, it's yours. The second one, going back to the previous point, is a high interest savings account. Saving money is good, but even better is the money sitting there and making more money for you. For reference, I've got an ING 5.5% savings account. So what does that mean? Instead of me putting money in just a regular account, a non-savings account, or just putting the money under my bed, for example, well, it's not really gonna do anything. But if I put in a high interest savings account, it's gonna pay me back. So for example, let's say I put $10,000 in that account. Every year, the bank is gonna pay me 5.5% of that $10,000 back into my account as a thank you for letting them hold my money. The good thing is the more money you put in there, the more that 5.5% increases. So let's say January of this year, you've put $10,000 in there. You're gonna get 5.5% divided by 12, 1 month of that 5.5%. Let's say you win a scratchy and you get another $10,000 and you put that straight into that savings account. Now you've got the 10,000 plus the 5.5% interest plus another 10,000. Now the interest for February, the next month, well, it's gonna go off that figure there. It compounds over time and just keeps getting bigger. Now, you're not necessarily gonna get rich off savings accounts, but why wouldn't you wanna make an extra couple hundred or couple $1,000s by your money just sitting? in a bank account. My third option that I do is individual stocks. That's more risky than going to the index funds because that's obviously the whole market. High risk, high reward is the best way to describe it. Let's say you bought a company like Nvidia about a year and a half ago, like I did myself. Just by doing a bit of research online, I thought, you know what, let's put a bit of money into it. Well, that's over tripled in value, just like that, over the last year and a half. Obviously, this can go both ways. The company can go bankrupt and then you lose all your money invested in it. But if you want high risk, high reward, invest in stocks. And those individual stocks are any of these big companies you know, like Apple, Microsoft, Nvidia, any of these groups that you want to invest in, you can as long as they're public. And my final one, which I left at the bottom, is crypto. I put a bit of money in it when I was younger. It's grown over time. I haven't really touched it. Not too interested in it. Obviously, the biggest one that I've left out is housing and real estate. I haven't invested in that yet. And most of you young car guys can't do that because to invest in a house, you need at least, in Australia, $50,000 for a deposit, plus a stable income. And there's a lot of factors to it. It's not like stocks where you can just open a stock account, put money into it. You need a lot of backing and financial support to get into that position. But the best thing is over time, they continue to grow. So here I am at 21 years old. At 50 years old, I'm sure it would have grown to a lot more. Unlike this car, it's going to go down in value. But anyways, the investments are going to make me more money. So if I started investing at 15, which I didn't, but if I did, and I got to the age of 20 and I wanted to take out my investments, in theory, I've made money over that time, which can go towards one of these. Strategy number 4, side hustles. This is the last investment opportunity that I left out for this point, and that's investing your money into side hustles. Whether you work full-time or study full-time or whatever the case is, you should always make time to make a side hustle or a side business that you can scale to make a lot of money. To tell you the truth, at my age, I've had over 7 businesses. Now, not many of them have succeeded, only 3 to be exact. The other ones, not so much. And even this one right here, my YouTube, it's a business in itself and it's a side hustle that I love doing. And to tell you the truth, it's my favorite, even though I don't make a lot of money from it. For example, I make a few dollars a day for reference. And that's the biggest thing. You actually have to enjoy what you're doing in that side hustle. If you absolutely hate mowing the lawns, don't start a lawn mowing business in your area because it won't last a week. And that's why I'm so persistent with this YouTube. I absolutely love making these videos. I love connecting with you guys. I love talking about cars. I just love the whole experience around it. And like I said, I'm not making a sustainable amount of money off it. I just love doing it. And hopefully one day it will make a sustainable amount of money. So before you get caught up in anything, make sure you actually enjoy it before you start. And like I said, this is my side hustle, the YouTube and the social media. I've got a full-time job, which obviously got me money to save up to be able to afford something like this. The few dollars a day won't afford something like this, but it's a side hustle, and every free time, every day off or after work or whatever the case is, I'm working on the side hustle. So let's say you're a young kid and you don't have a lot of experience or connections out there in the world. So what are some good, easy side hustles to get into? First one, like I said before, you can get into gardening and lawn care in your local area. Similar to that, you can also do car washing and car detailing. There's also things like barbering and clothing brands and niche social media pages. But again, you have to be good at what you do. At the start, you won't be great. You're gonna build and learn and make mistakes. But you have to learn from your mistakes and become better. And you'll get people referring you and sharing your stuff around online as well. And the final side hustle that I'll say is real drop shipping or real affiliate marketing. Not like all these gurus say online, buy my course and you'll get rich. No, there's real drop shipping is still a thing even in 2025. You just obviously need to learn, do your research and try and fail until one day it won't fail. Strategy number 5. Live below your means. Living below your means is crucial to buying your dream car. And if you're not going to do this, well, you shouldn't even do the other 4 because there's no point. Let's imagine you're earning $50,000 cleared in your bank account every single month. That's over $10,000 a week or $600,000 a year net in your account. But if you're going to go out and spend $50,000 a month, what's the point? Yes, you can live a lavish and crazy lifestyle, but you're not really getting anywhere unless you're spending that money on investments and savings, etc. But if you're going out and blowing it at the club or on shoes or on alcohol or whatever you want to spend it on, well, you're not really going to get far. I really doubt any of my subscribers out there are earning that much money. If you are, all to you. I want to be like you, let's be honest. But for the realistic person not earning that much, the same thing applies. And one thing that you have to avoid, and one thing that I've seen firsthand, is something called lifestyle inflation. If you start off at 16 earning $50 a shift at McDonald's, then at 18 you get a server job, for example, you're earning $300 a shift. Then at 21, you've got a full-time job, you're earning $300-400 every time you work. Then you get 30, you're earning $1,000 a day, you're earning crazy good money. The problem is, the more you earn, if you spend more because you're earning more, doesn't really matter because it's all on a scale. If at 18 you're saving 50%, investing 20%, 20% is lifestyle, and 10% is just regular spending, if that follows your way all the way up, you're gonna do great. But like I said before, let's say you're earning 50K a month and you're just spending it willy-nilly because you've got the money, well, you're not gonna achieve things in the long term. And buying your dream car is a long-term goal. Unless you've got ridiculous money, like that example, well, you won't be able to buy this in 1 month paycheck. It'll take you years of saving up. And I've gotten in that habit before when I was younger, thinking, oh, I've got this much in my bank account from my paycheck, how can I spend it? You don't wanna think like that. You don't wanna think, how can I spend it? Only spend it on things you really want or really need. But of course there are exceptions, like obviously the car, but that was the goal, point one. I set the goal to buy this. If your goal is to go clubbing and spend $5,000 on bottle service, then I guess you've achieved your goal. Each to their own, I guess. And the final strategy of today's video, strategy 6, research and negotiate when buying that car. These first 5 financial strategies, I've just been talking about saving, investing, goals, etc. Now let's finally talk about cars. I mean, it is a car channel at the end of the day. So, you know what car you want to buy, a BMW M4 for example. First thing you need to do is research. Now, I'm sure you've been researching for months, if not years. I mean, I know I was on this car. I had a saved preset on my app and I'd be able to see everyone that was listed, every M3 and M4 out there. Now, I don't mean research as in what engine's in it and blah, 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 because you already know that. I mean, look at the market and the trends. Every time you go on the app, you'll see the same few cars there that haven't sold. Now, that's for one of 2 reasons. First one, the car's got major issues, so avoid that car. Second reason is because the ad might be horrible or the person selling it might be really hard to deal with. But if you can see around the ad and work around the person and actually find out it's a good car and you can get a good deal, that's when you want to snap. And of course, the longer a car is online, the more someone will want to sell it. If they've been trying to sell the car for 6 months and they can't do it, they're more willing to negotiate than the day after they listed it. So the main thing you want to look out for is cars that have been online for a while and they're not getting a lot of attention. That's what you want to go for. Obviously, the ones that are fairly priced and they're getting a lot of attention, they're not really going to want to negotiate as much as those who can't. So getting into the negotiation stage, I mean, first things first is you want to check out the car, make sure it's perfectly fine, mechanically, tires, brakes, oil leaks, all that stuff. If it ticks all those boxes, then you can go forward negotiating. Negotiating is a fine art. I've done it quite a bit. And there's kind of a balance you have to reach. Obviously, the seller's got an asking price. There's an asking price and there's a selling price. Let's say they're asking $60,000. Now, from the market research you've done, you've seen $60,000 a little bit on the high end for the age and the kilometers. So you're going to work your way around the seller. You're going to knock them down, about the condition of the car, the price compared to others, the kilometers, service history, whatever, just to get that price down a little bit. And you want to put in an offer that's low, but not too low. If you give them a really hard offer off the start, they're going to take it as disrespectful and a waste of their time. If they're asking 60 and you're offering them 40 to 45, they'll give you, well, that middle finger and tell you, leave me alone, stop wasting my time. But if you go in, let's say low 50s, for example, you'll tell them, look, there's nicer ones out there, people asking 57, 58. I'd rather buy one of those for that price. With all things considering, would you take? You'll most likely go back and forth, and you might not do a deal on the spot. But if they come to their senses and after 2 weeks, not one other person has come back to look at it, well, they might reach out back to you. That's actually happened to me twice, where the seller's come back to me and said, you know what, let's just do it. So I'll make a full video on researching cars and negotiating them on how to get the best deals. But if you want to get your dream car at a young age, the best way to do it is to get it at a great price, so you can afford it at a cheaper price. I want to be clear as day when I say this as a final word of advice. Everyone's journey is different. Some people will be millionaires before they even hit 18 years old. Other people will never touch $1 million in 60 years of working. Money isn't really everything that it's about. But of course, you have goals, you want to achieve things. As a car guy, you want to buy cars, and so do I. So taking these financial strategies into mind about setting goals, saving money, being smart, investing, etc., and obviously getting good deals on cars, you can get there and buy your dream car. Remember, it's not just about buying that car, whether it's this car or a Lamborghini or a Bugatti. It's not about buying the car. It's about learning financial responsibility and being financially aware on what you're doing with your money in your life. So I hope this video has helped you achieve those goals and inspired you to do better things. If you're at a young age and you're not saving or making money now, go out and do it. If you're 35 years old with kids, go out and do it. Start saving, start investing. It's never too late. I know it's cliche to say, but it's better to start yesterday than to start tomorrow. So I hope you've enjoyed another one of my videos here on Perf Nick. I know I do a lot of car content, a lot of driving content, but I also like to do financial content. Let me know in the comments which type of content is the best. The ones about the money, the ones about talking about cars, or the ones about driving the cars. Anyways, let me know what else you want to see. Enjoy the start of your 2025, and let's all achieve our goals this year. Peace. I'll see you next Tuesday.